Good morning. Loving the music. What do you think? It's time for Santa Claus to come in just a few weeks, and it's time for winter. Boy, yesterday you heard Beckett Moore, possibly, if you were on with us, talking about astrological and meteorological winter. No matter what, it just feels like it as you're stepping out the door this morning. Good morning. As you see, I am your host, Monica Adams. We're kicking off the Real Monica Adams show with you. Again, good morning to all of you. I love when you drop the comments in to the entire community and show that wonderful kindness that we always ask you to do. So if you're new to the show, that's what it's about. Hope and inspiration and shining the spotlight on wonderful human beings and businesses in our area. Even more so today, we're talking about being kind because on this December 3rd, it is Giving Tuesday. So a lot of nonprofits really bank on you giving today. It really helps them out for the entire year. So think about your favorite charities and make sure that you're giving to them. You're not getting scammed, that emails are coming into you. Make sure that this is reputable. They're going and following the proper channels, again, on this Giving Tuesday. Just trying to take care of you while we take care of the nonprofits. Today, I'm giddy because I love to talk about fashion. Fashion is my passion, always has been from a little girl up, introduced by my wonderful mother, and then I just kept taking it higher and higher and higher. So I'm going to talk fashion today with two beautiful women, inside and out. Dianne Isbell, who has been on our show in the past. She is the president and the founder of Hats by Dianne, but she's also on the board of the STL Fashion Alliance. Have you ever heard of that? I was talking to my team. They had not, and maybe a lot of you haven't either, but they could benefit from you today because they are a nonprofit that would love to see some money coming their way on this Giving Tuesday. We will be talking with the executive director of STL Fashion Alliance, Audra Harold. Both of them will be in the blue chairs after we kick off your news you can use. We've got news and sports, and we also have the forecast. I said furs like a faux pas. Faux fur you might want to wear today or whatever. Make sure the kids are bundled up. Hats, gloves, boots, all that probably needed today. So let's take a look at the forecast for today. A lot of you are stepping out and it's in the teens or low 20s. We will climb to 34 today. We'll see something today we didn't see yesterday. Some sunshine peeking in, which will be nice and hopefully feeling a little warmer. 27 for the low tonight. It's going to be breezy tomorrow, but look at that high, 51, jumping up and getting a little warmer tomorrow, but it is short-lived as we get down and we dip down to 20 degrees tomorrow night, and then Thursday's high is only 27. 17 for the low. Gosh, we're not ready for this. Friday, 37 for the high, and then the weekend actually starts to warm up as we get into the low 50s. That continues into Monday. There is a very slight chance of rain, and it's still early. We're, several days out before we get into next week. So that could change, get a little higher. Maybe it could be wiped away. But 52 for the high on Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. Looks like we're going to be in the low to mid 40s. So a little bit of a warm up on tap for you. All right, let's get into some news you can use when we've got a lot to talk about. So yesterday I saw a lot of the news stations covering this story out of St. Charles County. Well, now there's multiple investigations ongoing with a holiday-themed event called Jingle. Let's break this down for you. I don't know if you went, and if you did, feel free to comment. Put what happened with you, if you had an enjoyable time, or if you actually had issues like many others have. There are multiple investigations underway after complaints about Jingle Holiday Light. The opening weekend at Jingle brought a flurry of complaints, ranging from disappointment to downright dangerous. In fact, one lady said whatever they had laid out for us to walk on was like the scariest thing ever. A lot of black ice. There were a lot of people slipping on that. The out-of-town pop-up was supposed to open the week before, but it was delayed due to weather issues. It opened to the public on Friday. Social media was filled, and I do mean filled, with complaints ranging from disappointing displays, lack of signage, overpriced activities, and dangerous conditions. This field you're seeing was covered with plastic interlocking tiles, which guests said caused a very slippery and hazardous environment. There were posts on social media saying that many suffered injuries, some even broken bones. Now, St. Charles County Ambulance District said they did not respond to the event over the weekend, but a statement from Jingle said they hired private EMTs to be on site. And in the statement, organizers said they're working to improve conditions for guests and employees. However, now the Missouri Attorney General and the BBB are investigating after multiple complaints came in yesterday. The BBB also suggesting disputing purchases, because some people are saying they want their money back. You have to do that with your credit card company. And lastly, a spokesperson for the city of O'Fallon, who owns CarShield Field, said it's not a city event, because some of the complaints and the comments I saw yesterday were people saying, how did the city even allow this? Again, it's not a city event, they say. Jingle rented the space, and because it's already used for events, it did not require a permit. A City of O'Fallon spokesperson said no safety investigations were required before it opened. Again, we'll continue to follow this story, and anything that you want to drop in now, if you're watching live or if you watch this later, please let us know what your experience was like. And I'm hoping that they can get this fixed, because it looked like it was going to be a really cool event. All right, speaking of investigations, the ongoing investigation into the death of 16-year-old Colin Brown after a stray bullet came through the window as Brown was in the car with his father on the way home from a hockey game of CBC and Marquette. He did later die. There is now a $25,000 reward. We told you $20,000 yesterday, but the community is really stepping up from people who are saying that they don't want to be told, who they are. They just want to put money up for it. There's others. I mentioned Carl Lund, a very dear friend of mine, who put up $10,000 of his own money, other organizations, and then people in the community, just, again, being anonymous. You can make an anonymous tip if you know anything at all. The money, the reward, will go to someone who is able to bring information forward that leads to an arrest and ultimately a conviction in this investigation. So again, anything you know, please call Crime Stoppers. Well, we mentioned today is Giving Tuesday, and I've covered this a lot as a reporter and anchor over the years. I love to see our community really come out in full force. Again, think of the nonprofits that you help or you give to throughout the year. Well, today they could really use your help. You know, we came off of Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday. Now it's Giving Tuesday, a global movement launched actually in 2012 by the 92nd Street Y. Giving Tuesday takes the festive narrative of Black Friday and Cyber Monday and asks to give back instead of spending more. Over the past 12 years, it has grown from a simple concept to a worldwide phenomenon, generating over $3 billion in charitable donations in 2022 alone. And while the sheer volume of generosity captured in a single day is staggering, Giving Tuesday is more than just an excuse to spin up a fundraising campaign. Instead, it's an open invitation for nonprofits, corporations, individuals to unite around a shared commitment to impact and being a part of change that you want to see. For nonprofits, Giving Tuesday, as I mentioned, can make or break not just their year-end fundraising targets, but their entire fundraising budget. Now, after you give to your favorite nonprofit, you might want to look for some incredible travel deals, because this has become a thing as well. Travel Tuesday. Yeah, everybody's jumping on board. It centers on incredible deals for those planning their next getaway. Whether you're dreaming of a beach vacation, a European adventure, or your honeymoon, Travel Tuesday offers some of the best discounts on flights, hotels, vacation packages, even tours, making it an excellent opportunity to lock in your next trip at a fraction of the cost. In fact, I'm seeing like 30 and 40% off. So definitely worthwhile for you to get onto your computer and look up. One of the main reasons to take advantage of this, hotels and travel agencies often offer significant savings to encourage early bookings for the following year. And well, if you can win the Mega Millions, you'll be doing a lot of traveling. No one has won the Mega Millions since September, so it continues to creep up higher. Now it's at $541 million for tonight's drawing. And if you took the cash option, by the way, you would win $257.6 million. All right, we want to keep you around for a long time, so maybe you need to change the way you're eating from meat to more maybe tofu or legumes. Yeah, plant-based. A lot of people say this is why I eat vegan. However, they're saying even if you did like partial vegan and then animal protein or half and half, that it will help you from a cardiovascular health standpoint. So are you ready to get rid of the meat? All right, feel free to comment. Some people are going to say, no, I'm not eating tofu. However, it could help you. There was new research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that found that those who ate the highest ratio of plant-based protein to animal-based had a 19% lower risk of cardiovascular disease and a 27% lower risk of coronary heart disease when compared with those who ate the lowest ratio of plant to animal protein. So giving you some possible opportunities for you to be healthier and hopefully be around a little bit longer, but of course, it's all up to you. Are you a fan of Elton John like I am? Well, some interesting news from a health standpoint coming out with Sir Elton John. Something that happened to him earlier this year, and it's now still creating problems. He has lost his eyesight after contracting an infection. The singer-songwriter attended the opening night of The Devil Wears Prada in London on Sunday, and he told the audience, I haven't been able to come to many of the previews because I have lost my eyesight, so it's hard for me to see it. But I love to hear it, and boy, did it sound good. Again, he disclosed back in September that an infection had left him with only limited vision in one eye. So thoughts and prayers going out to Sir Elton John. And we wrap up with some sports news, and boy, is this exciting. MIZZOU. How exciting for one particular player that you probably watched for a while. He is not going to be playing in a bowl game. Instead, he's skipping to enter the NFL draft. Missouri wide receiver Luther Burden III. He wraps up his 3-year career at Missouri as one of the program's most productive players and a transformative recruit who helped the school go 20-5 over the past 2 years. He will not play in Missouri's bowl game, instead beginning to prepare for the NFL draft. And something I love about Burden, he actually skipped the opportunity to play for Alabama or even Georgia and stayed with Missouri, now going into the NFL draft. So congratulations to him. All right, it is 7:13. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to transition to fashion and etiquette. Is it a thing of the past? There are so many news articles that I've been reading about how people say, etiquette, it's just thrown away. I don't agree. My guests don't agree. And I'm hoping that you teach etiquette to your children. Well, we're going to talk about a lot of things with regards to fashion in the first half hour, and then we transition to the etiquette side in the second half hour. I mentioned Dianne Isbell and Audra Harold will be my guest, and they'll be in the blue chair when we return.
Discover your full potential with a personalized styling experience. Designing, customizing, and transforming the looks of men and women. Revamp your individual style and embrace what makes you, you. That's real confidence.
We are live on location, and this is the really cool thing. This is exactly what we can do from your business. We call it Mobile Monica. You know, I'm always on the move. Everyone knows about Jody's balls, and why is that?
I have the best ball.
Oh my God. You enjoying this?
Always.
Watch this, I gotta move with her.
Orange Theory is created to help people live a more vibrant life.
When we tell you that they have some of the most beautiful sunsets, we mean it. We're now in the brainchild of Adventure Unknown. That thing
Well, he's got a heck of a story
beautiful.
behind that leopard,
I
too.
know.
It's going to be a very dangerous shoot.
It'll be
She says it
fabulous.
is. Monica or Mez Adams. How's that
Yes,
sound?
that sounds great.
This is Marianne Graff, owner of Just Be Kind Coffee House and Cafe. And you can see all the people in line. Oh, that handsome gentleman is... That would be my husband, Jim.
My mission statement says I want people to feel better leaving than when they came in.
And you do. Again, no calories when you're spreading kindness.
No calories when you're spreading kindness, especially if it's on the weekend. needs to be more positive.
Yep.
You know, the world, and I'm spreading positivity with my air fresheners. So,
You and I both,
yes.
sir.
Sadly, I wasn't aware of the Monica Adams show until recently, and was I missing out?
I'm definitely going to turn this on in the mornings on our TV.
She's helping people to understand their value. She's helping women to transform their lives.
From the minute that we walked in, I felt just really comfortable and at home here.
You are always a ray of sunshine and positivity.
Thank you for what you do. I love this whole thing that you're doing.
It's good news. It's great news. It's uplifting and empowering.
But you were engaged, and I love that. So thank you so much.
And welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. Thrilled to have you along with us. You know I love fashion, right? For 30 years in my career, what did you all tell me? I just wake up to see what you're wearing. Well, then you know that I'm going to love today's topic. We're going to talk about fashion, but we're also going to talk about etiquette. And by the end of this hour, I hope you hear us say, etiquette is not a thing of the past. And so parents, I hope you're instilling etiquette in your children. Feel free to drop in comments. I see a lot of you already chirpy this morning. By the way, we were on multiple platforms. So if you have friends and family that say, I'm not on Facebook, I can't watch. Yes, they can. Facebook, YouTube, and X. And then Tia Tricamo does a wonderful job with our social media and turns reels and stories after the show. So you also can find those on Instagram and TikTok. So a lot to be looking at. Yes, fashion. We're going to talk about so many things about the STL Fashion Alliance. Do you even know about them? There are a lot of people here in our office that said, no, but I want to. And on this Giving Tuesday, I really want you to remember them and give to those nonprofits that really need your help today. So let me introduce my guest once again. As I mentioned, Dianne Isbell. She's been on the show in the past with her wonderful hats and always looking stunning. She is behind Hats by Dianne, but she's also part of the STL Fashion Alliance, the executive director, Audra Harold, also in studio with us. Ladies, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you coordinate your blacks today?
No,
We didn't.
That's funny. So let's start with you, Audra.
Sure.
From all that are on my team that said that they didn't know what the STL Fashion Alliance is, I do from being in media and being involved in fashion. But for those who don't, tell them what it's all about and how long it's been around.
Sure. So we're a fairly new nonprofit. We were founded in 2022, which is when we got our 501c3. And so we really took some time to figure out what the community needed and what the fashion community wanted. And so we've really taken that time to become who we are. So we support local fashion professionals and students, which is both the high school and the college level.
And students all over our area on both sides of the river?
Yes, the greater St. Louis area, yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I love is seeing more and more students get into fashion. And of course, as you know, fashion's changing every second. So what are they most excited about having this nonprofit?
Yeah, I think with the students, specifically speaking about high school, is that they're a lot of them aren't aware of all the different occupations in fashion. You think fashion, you default to apparel design.
Right.
And so this is a way for these students to really be exposed to all these different occupations, whether it's marketing or journalism or, technical design or any of those other occupations. So I think that's what they're most excited about is learning, I can do that and be in fashion.
And let's give a little bit more background on you. So what is your background leading up to the STL Fashion Alliance?
Sure. So I entered through a non-traditional route, if you will. So I rode horses. I was an equestrian. Really? And I found that I was tugging on my clothes while riding an 1,100-pound animal is probably not the best combination. And we're talking, post-children. So I wasn't a 21-year-old with that 21-year-old body anymore. So I found that I needed to make some changes with the clothing. So I ended up buying a bunch of different brands, and none of them fit quite right. So as entrepreneurs do, we're like, I'm going to fix it. So I created Sassy Bowl, which was my equestrian line.
I love that. So for those of you that have that entrepreneurial spirit, or as we always talk about, look, Audra did it, right? Dianne did it. I did it. Believe in yourself. That's the biggest thing. And then, Dianne, when did you get involved with the STL Fashion Alliance? From 22 immediately, or?
Not immediately,
Okay.
but shortly thereafter, because I was also interested in helping young students in college students get involved and learn more about what's available to them and do the networking events that we have on Fashion Tuesdays. And it's just been really rewarding to see them, like their eyes open up, like, hey, yes, this is neat. And we have a lot of educational events and the networking, and just bring them in all the time so that they can meet new people and find out what's available in the fashion world.
Yep, networking. It's all about networking. And for those of you that have seen past shows that I've done with Dianne, you've seen from the hat standpoint, which you launched how long ago?
20 years ago.
20 years.
My third career.
Right, because there are so many other things. My director, Zach, was reading up about you, and he's like, oh my gosh, she's done this. She's done this. And I said, what hasn't she done is really what we should say.
Yet. Look out what's next.
No kidding. What do you want and what are you most proud of, Dianne, since you've been around fashion for a long time? Well, let's ask that first. What are you most proud of our immediate area? Because we have a long-standing history of fashion if we look even on Washington Avenue.
Well, I'm so proud of Audra here and the inspiration that she provides, for instance, and all the other entities of fashion here in St. Louis, because at one time we were the fashion hub with our Zipper Street, and we came up with the junior sizes here in St. Louis, and we're all attempting to collaborate and bring that back to St. Louis.
Don't you love the historical side of it? I mean, we talk about the garment district, but there are so many. I'm going to ask Tia if she wants to give a shout in the background. Do you know anything about the fashion aspect of St. Louis? No. Right. See, so the 20-something-year-olds are who I want to talk to, but it's also passing that on generation to generation. So tell them a little bit about that for her generation to know after today, because they'll be looking on TikTok and what? You did what? You're like the foundation of what? That whole garment district is a fascinating background. You need to research that.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, the Missouri Historical Society is a great resource, and they've got one of the largest textile collections in their basement, and you can ask for a tour down there. They only take a few people down at a time, and it is exceptional. It's very special that it's here in St. Louis, and so just things like that. And then, of course, Shoe Street USA, if you go down Wash Ave, you'll see the zipper that doesn't light up anymore. It'd be great if it did, but we really do have a very rich fashion history here, and it is nice to see, the resurgence coming back.
Absolutely. And we just talked about shoes. So let's start with that, because there are so many things. And again, you want to give a shout out to those that are thinking of who they should give to today. Why should they give to the STL Fashion Alliance?
Yes, because we do support our local community. We support the local designers like Dianne and provide resources, connection, grants, education for them. Grants are something that we're starting in 2025, just small grants to help provide some seed money, if they will, to put St. Louis on a larger stage or a national stage. And then also the grants are for like educators for high school. I'm very passionate about high school teachers, and they should never have to take money out of their own pocket to start a fashion club or something like that. So really all of the things that we're doing really are focused on the greater St. Louis area and supporting the future of fashion here. So please, STL Fashion Alliance, give today, Giving Tuesday.
Yes, there you go. Absolutely, on this Giving Tuesday.
Yes.
Again, if you're just tuning in, let me reintroduce my guest. So that was Audra Harold. Audra, again, the executive director of STL Fashion Alliance. Dianne Isbell, you're on the board. You're president of the board?
I'm the president of the board.
Right, she's the president of the board. Let's bow down to Dianne.
Yes.
And of course, she is the mastermind behind all these beautiful hats that we'll talk about. And we'll talk about dressing for success and etiquette in our second part of today's show. But let's talk about some of the great things that you have coming up. So the shoe drive, tell us about this.
Yeah, so this is actually, it's called Funds to Orgs. It's our partner, and so we fund 2 organizations. We're collecting shoes. Our goal is 4,000 pairs. We have 10 drop-off partners throughout St. Louis. And what happens with the shoes is once we've collected them, they will refurbish them. They send them to third world countries that they've partnered with, and they either use the shoes for their transportation, because that's their only transportation is their feet, or they sell them in micro businesses to support their families. So please, drop off shoes.
And there you go. There are the drop-off locations on your screen. Oh, 40 Elephants. That just opened in Kirkwood, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And the Vault, of course, we were just there with our fashion show, the Vault Luxury Resale. Stars Design Group, which you work at, you're a part of. Stevens, the Institute of Business and Arts, STL Fashion Alliance, and there's so much more. If they want to know more about the shoe drive, should they go to your website?
Go to our website, yes. And we actually have 10 drop-off locations, so even a few more than that. So
yeah,
there's no excuse.
Lindenwood University, Cobblestone Shoe Repair, which Ladue Crossing, Hearth and Soul, love that place. The shoe drive, by the way, will run from now until January 10th.
Correct.
And we're talking about all types of shoes?
All shoes, children's shoes, high heels, boots, whatever, as long as they're gently used, as long as, they're not torn or, but yes, any shoes, we'll take them all. Thank you, yes.
4,000.
4,000 is our goal, yes.
Well, I know we're a giving community, so I think that we can do this. Again, start telling everybody. I'm cleaning out my closets because St. Louis Closet Company is coming over to organize, Monica.
Good.
Diane, you'll be happy about this. So I have a lot of shoes. I started counting, and so I'll give you some shoes for your 4,000. My husband's going to say, yes, get them out of the house. Let's also talk about the fashion holiday party that's coming up on the 10th. She's like, yes, let's talk about a party.
Well, we're in fashion. We love a party anytime, but this is a celebration of our local community, our local fashion designers, and also to support STL Fashion Alliance. So it is next Tuesday, December 10th, from 7 to 10 p.m. at the hottest new spot in town, which is the AC Hotel in Clayton. Their rooftop bar, if you will, is just beautiful views. It's just going to be gorgeous. It's going to be a night of a fashion show. We'll have vendors, so there'll be shopping. You can do some holiday shopping. There'll be a DJ. It's
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus will be there.
Pictures with
so
Santa.
Make sure you're on the nice list. But it'll be a great time.
So that's a fundraising and an awareness event.
Correct. And a party.
And a party, right. Well, who doesn't want a party? And then everybody dressed. So how should we dress for that night?
Oh, very fashionably creative. Sequins.
A lot of pictures taken that night.
Hats. Yes.
Yeah, and we'll talk about these hats. So if you want to, put something together with your outfit, because accessories really do make the outfit, we're going to try to bring more and more hats back into it. So hats for that night. Tickets for that event, where can we find out more information?
Yes, on our website or our Instagram. There's a link there, and they're $75.
$75. Yep. Okay, fantastic. And then let's talk about this High School Fashion Inspiration Award.
Yes. So this is a new award. So Lindenwood University does a high school fashion show every year. It's this Friday, December 6th. And it's for high school students, they showcase their own design. So I believe there's about 97 students that will be showcasing. And so the Alliance, we decided, Diane and I talked, that we wanted to give an inspiration award for the student who could best match their inspiration to their look, not necessarily if they, construction-wise. So we have a panel of 3 professionals. We have Brett Schnittker, who's the CEO of Stars Design Group. We have Amanda Casares, who's a professor at Lindenwood University, and Polly Gibson, who's a menswear designer and also on the STLFA board. That will be, they're choosing who our Inspiration Award winner will be.
And you just saw the flyer, so there's a vendor market there as well?
Correct. Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, and Diane will be presenting the award.
Yes.
And you're emceeing?
I'm so excited.
Yes, and I'm emceeing, yes.
All right, so what are you most excited about for that night? Because again, it's all about giving back to our younger generation.
To the fashion show?
Yes.
Oh, Lindenwood has one of the best fashion shows. I mean, it is
Why?
amazing because these students are just so excited and energetic. Their parents are there. And I mean, we're just amazed at what they've done with their imagination and their fingers. And it's one of the best, honestly.
Well, and that's the thing, what you just brought up, and I really want to stress this as much as we can on this show about bringing the generations together. I'm big on this, Tia. Tia's here in the room with us. So it's about the teenagers, about the 20-year-olds, respecting the 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-year-olds, but also the other way around.
Yes.
Right? Because we hear too often the older generation dismissing the young kids, saying, oh, they can't do this, or they can't do that, or they're lazy, or they don't want to show up for work, or they're ghosting. And that is such a small minority of the generation. Here we are talking about the success and the creativity and the drive of the younger generation that does want to succeed, right?
Oh, yes. You would be so inspired by some of their outfits. I mean, it's amazing what they've come up with, and you would think that they've been designing and creating for years. You can almost compare them to anyone else that we have that come into town for fashion shows.
Right, and I think it really does get creative juices going for those that maybe have been in the fashion world for a while, and they're like, oh, I didn't think of this, because you need that young mind sometimes, right? And they're looking at things that are on TikTok or whatever, and they're getting inspired by that. I remember when I was an anchor for Fox years ago, and we were talking about, I think it was a prom or a homecoming, and it was someone that had made this incredible dress, and we kept looking at it and we thought, there's no way it's made out of, wait for it, duct tape. Do you remember that? It was all over the
Yes.
news.
They used to have what was that? The trash bag fashion show. Oh my gosh, you can't imagine. There was one dress that Alexis Cook made, I think, and it was out of the tabs from bottles, from cans, strung together like a 20s dress. Oh my gosh, and she made another one out of the pink packets for sugar.
Oh, it's like
yes.
sweeteners?
It was just a big ball gown. It was amazing.
Audra, what's the most creative thing that you've seen made out of our students here in our immediate area?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. Put me on the spot. I think one is, I can't really talk too much about it, but one I just saw recently, it's part of the Inspiration Award, where they used newspaper as part of their design. It was done very creatively. So yeah, it's really an interesting gown, but the fact that you can incorporate newspaper into the gown is very creative.
And I love, and so do you, of course, but you've been writing for the Belleville News-Democrat for how long?
30-some years.
You're not 30.
That's an age myself.
Yes. Again, we told you she does a lot and talks about etiquette in that, which we're going to transition to in just a second. But I love the fact that they're incorporating newspaper because people say that's a dying industry, right? So they're bringing it back and hopefully making it thrive. Okay, so we're talking about the STL Fashion Alliance on this Giving Tuesday. Again, remember them. And if you can, start giving money to multiple charities if you can. A little goes a long way.
Definitely.
And remember to make sure that you're giving to the nonprofit. There's a lot of people who try to scam you. You're going to get emails. You need to seek it out. Don't be looking at emails coming to you and giving. And do not, if someone says that, oh, we're going to take cash or we're going to get a drop-off point, all those things that we're trying to help for those people who get scammed. So give your website one more time for everybody for all the information we've given so far.
Sure, it's stlfashionalliance.org. You can find all the information there.
Perfect. All right. Audra's going to stick around with me because we're going to weigh in what the Queen talks about. So Dianne Isbell is going to talk about etiquette, something that she's been teaching for a long, long time. And we've been talking about wanting to discuss this. I've been seeing news articles like crazy lately saying that etiquette is a thing of the past. I'm sure as you hear that, it makes you cringe. Yes. So parents, grandparents, etc., listen to this. And I know a lot of comments are coming in. So we'll get to your comments and then we'll transition to this. And we'll talk about the holidays, dressing for the holidays, dressing for success as people talk about New Year's resolutions. And if you're going to someone's house, hosting gifts.
Yes.
Etiquette.
As a matter of fact, this is just like a home. And so today what I did was I brought this coffee cake so that you and your staff can enjoy it later. And anytime that you're going to someone's house, yes, you take a hostess gift, not something that they have to deal with like flowers without a vase, because after all, that hostess has been running around all day long trying to get ready, and you come to the door or two others and they have flowers. It's like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But a little hostess gift that they can have the next day for breakfast or after everyone leaves with a cup of coffee when they sink in their chair. And of course, what I brought today, because I know that you're not in your home, is you want to make sure that you have everything that they need.
You think of it all.
Now, this is finger food, so you don't really need forks because it
So we can just tear into that?
You just cut it and have
Audra,
it.
let's get started.
I know. But that's one of the things. And the other thing that I think is really important, when you're invited to someone's home, don't come early, okay? Because all of us, we are, we're last minute putting this there and everything, and the last thing we need is for somebody to come 20 minutes early.
Exactly. You know what? I love, but I think that is kind of etiquette also, is to show up on time. If you are a person who likes to be early, just maybe stay in the driveway or maybe a block or so away. So, because I still think if we see somebody pulling up in our driveway, we're like, oh gosh, we got to let them come in.
Yes.
We'll put them to work.
And that gets confusing sometimes too, because we know what we're doing and they want
get in
to
the way.
help, but oh my goodness, that could be disastrous.
These are good points. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get into that because we are right up against the Christmas and the New Year's holidays. And so a lot of you are either hosting or you're being invited to an event. So that etiquette, and then going into New Year's resolutions. I love when people say, I want to be more organized. I want to be more successful, but you got to dress for success. Right, we've got a lot to talk about. Dianne Isbell, Audra Harold, they're not going anywhere. I don't want you either. Stay right here. We have more of the Real Monica Adams Show to come. All right, we're talking about hosting gifts. Maybe you bring a gift card for this wonderful place that you've been hearing us talk about because you think, well, that hostess has done so much work. They deserve a facial. How about from Elemental Aesthetics? They are located, again, in the Creve Coeur area on North New Ballas Road. We mentioned so many things. So the facials would be really nice and relaxing for someone if they haven't had one ever or they haven't had one in a long time because, you know, men and women running around sometimes not taking time for themselves. We're talking about facials, but then also wonderful rooms like this. I love this salt room. Yes, you look at it and aesthetically, it's beautiful and pleasing, but it's what they do in there. They pipe in salt, the mineral aspect. And for the sick season, right, people are running around right now with the flu. They have respiratory issues. They've got pneumonia. They've got COVID. I went into that room before I left for Italy because I was sick before I left. And boy, I tell you what, it really did speed up me getting better and open up my lungs. So think about that room. And then people who have ADD and ADHD are swearing by that vibration bed. Again, we've been talking about a lot of this with Jennifer Warman-Bloss, who returns with us in a couple of weeks. How about a little IV hydration therapy with your friends as well? Elemental Aesthetics, 425 North New Ballas Road in Creve Coeur. They're in Suite 206. Give them a call today for your friends, family, and yourself. 314-279-6069. All right, welcome back. Again, The Real Monica Adams Show. I'm your host and my guests, Dianne Isbell and Audra Harold. And I'm seeing some comments come in. Good morning to all of you. There's so many for me to say good morning to. Just good morning. One fell swoop. Good morning to all of you. And somebody was mentioning earlier about what we had in the news, that they went to that jingle event and that it was dangerous. Again, I'm hoping that things get fixed with that. Marilyn said, I love little wishes. That's one of many that she gives to at Christmas time. So many people with so many needs. So Marilyn, remember STL Fashion Alliance also as you give. And then to Dianne, Sherry just said she met you. You opened Tribute. She was the one who did all the hair and makeup there. Sherry Anderson, who does my hair.
Oh, yes.
She said she just met you and that your hats are absolutely beautiful. Okay, Michelle's getting into our etiquette. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking etiquette now. So go back to the beginning of the show and learn about all with STL Fashion Alliance and all the wonderful things coming up, from the party to the shoe drive, etc., and to an award given away to our students. So Michelle says, I've learned that if people ask to help as you set up for a party that they showed up early for, it doesn't hurt to have little sticky notes with tasks written on them, like fill water glasses or lay out napkins.
That's a great idea, yes. Very great idea.
That way you can just say, take a sticky note. Yeah. That's your job because you've decided to stay early.
Yes.
Show up early, sorry. Let's make a point to admire the beautiful hats that she's changing into. That one looks phenomenal.
Yes.
That is so good because it gives this pop of color to the black.
Right. And this was part of the tribute show, and this is made with this is a placemat.
See, she's so creative.
Placemat. And what a great show that was. I mean, Mary Clark just does a wonderful job, and I was just so surprised and honored to have my hats in the very beginning. Lift that one up there. That was in the show too. This is a little hatinator.
Yes, the hatinators
with
a little comb on it.
And Audra, would you pick up that other red one? That is made with a placemat also, and it has some bling to it. So when you're invited to a party and they say dressy, you know, these are the kinds of things that you can add to either a plain black dress or whatever, and it puts you in the mood for the holidays, and it's just very exciting and fun.
Look at those pictures that you're looking at right now.
Yes,
so was the tribute, was that held at
it was at the Scottish
Rites? That's what I thought. Absolutely. Yes. So let's say percentage-wise, going back, and again, you know me, Jim and I both believe that we grew up in the wrong era. Like, I love the 20s and the 30s and the 40s fashion, and love when there's parties that you're invited to and you go back and you dress in that era. But as we transition and people are looking at pulling ideas from the past, what would you say percentage-wise of people that are saying, yeah, hats, I want to wear more hats, as opposed to maybe 10 years ago?
Well, I think it is an art of wearing hats that's coming back, and
Good.
Women love to wear hats, and they feel just so much more glamorous. And men like to see women in hats. I mean,
And
Jim
women like
likes
to see men in hats.
Yes,
I just bought a hat
yes.
when we were in Italy for Jim. I just think that's like a stately piece that just is so handsome with a long coat.
Yes, and it's a finished look, and it's just sophistication, I think, and it's coming back. I would say maybe in the last 10 years, we've seen a big surge coming back on hats.
You agree with that, Audra?
Absolutely.
Do you like wearing hats?
I love wearing hats.
Yes, she loves wearing
Yes.
hats. From the fedoras, to the Panama hats, to the fascinators. And I mean, when you go to a party, why not dress up? That's the opportunity to do that.
And you don't really have to fix your hair as much.
That's right. That's right. It's a hat
Always
day.
helping you out.
It's a head hat day, and you wear a hat.
That's right. And they're absolutely beautiful. And by the way, when you think, because we always like to be moving forward, you think of Kentucky Derby, go to this woman and have her design you the most incredible hats for Derby parties, or actually going to Kentucky for that.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we're going to be doing a big event on March 6th at Herbie's.
All right.
And it's going to be supporting the Alliance and also the Junior Diabetes Charity.
Beautiful.
So it's an opportunity to get your hat, bring your dress, and get your order in early so that you're all ready for the big Herbie's party or going to the actual Derby.
Absolutely. Again, Dianne Isbell, Hats by Dianne. So let's talk about dressing for success before we get back into our hosting. As people say, I want to be more successful, yet they show up to these job interviews and they look sloppy, right?
Yes.
So give them some tips. They don't have to spend a lot of money.
No, right. It's not the amount of money that you spend on something. It's how you take care of it and how you wear it, your posture. It makes just a big difference. When you walk into a room, if you're slouching, you're not going to make a really good impression. But if you're standing tall and straight, or in my case, short and straight, it does make a difference. And, so many times, young people or older people, I know that this is becoming a casual culture, but when people dress casually, they treat people more casually. And that's just not the right thing when you want to maintain manners in today's world, because successful people have good manners.
Yes.
And they treat other people with respect. And that's the thing to remember. No matter where you're going, I know sometimes I slip a little bit when I go to Lowe's to fill my car with dirt bags. But normally, when you go out somewhere, you're going to meet someone at the grocery store or at the library or at whatever. Dress so that if you start a conversation and they say, by the way, what do you want to be when you get out of high school? You can tell them and they're going to say yes. Well, that perception in that person's mind says yes, this person's going to be a success.
Right.
But if you're always in your pajamas when you go out, that's not going to work.
And I know we're laughing, but it's a thing. I saw it when we went to Italy a month ago. I was looking at people at the airport and I'm like, you're wearing your pajamas. Now their mindset is, well, yeah, but I'm just going to be on a plane and I'm going to go and sit back and I'm going to be on the plane for 9 hours. Jim and I are dressed to the nines because I love to look back at the way people used to dress. Right, Audra?
Yes,
oh, my gosh,
yes.
it was beautiful. And I am constantly trying to bring that back.
Well,
Yoga
yes.
pants and sweatpants and pajamas, I don't think belong out in public.
No, there's a time and a place for everything. And when you dress, sophisticatedly, when you go into the airport, if there's an opportunity for them to move you into first class, guess who they're going to pick?
Exactly.
They're not going to pick the guy with the pajamas on or the girl with the pajamas or the holy jeans. They're
Right.
going to pick someone like you who's dressed,
And let me come back for a second because she just mentioned that there is a time and place for everything. I just said that yoga pants and sweatpants are not out in public. That's not true. Going to the gym,
Yes.
or if you're running up to a grocery store, there's a lot now that you can wear that's from the athletic look, but you're still put together, right? Run up
Yes.
to the grocery store, but fix your hair, I guess, right? So show that you have a little effort.
Yes, yes.
My mom used to always say when I was in high school, you never know if you're going to meet the next guy that you're
That's
going to
right,
date,
that's
right?
right.
Or you don't know if you're going to run into your future boss.
Right. At least carry your face. I carry my face in my purse all the time so that when I would travel, if my luggage got lost, at least I had my face.
Yes. Put some. What was the biggest thing that your mom and dad taught you when you were younger?
Oh gosh, my mom, I always dress. I mean, and my biggest pet peeve is the airport. So I'm like still living in that for a second. My mom, the same thing. So I was always brought up, like, you walk out the door and you are dressed. You know, you present yourself.
Well, and I think that's the message that we have to get across right now is, Dianne, what do you think? It goes back to, well, a few things. Parents, grandparents, maybe aunts or uncles, whoever has that influence on the younger generation, and our education system. All those things together, right?
Yes, it's a combination of all of that. And we as adults owe that to the younger generation to set that example. So I urge teachers and professors and everyone, just dress a little bit more sophisticatedly so that when they come to class they say, yes, I want to be like that person, I'm going to be successful, I'm going to be a professor, and you set the stage for them. All too often it's, I've done some image consulting with an accountant, and he said, I have trouble with my people that they're not dressing professionally enough. And when I saw that he wasn't wearing any socks, I thought, oh, no wonder.
But I want to keep stressing this. So if this gets to our younger generation, you share this with them, I think they think, oh, well, that cost a lot of money. It doesn't.
No.
It's not. But, if you could give tips to our younger generation that maybe our parents that are listening can pass along, what would you tell young gentlemen and young girls to have as staples when they are thinking of getting a job or going on a job interview?
Well, personally, I still think it's good to go to an interview wearing a suit. And it doesn't have to be one that's really, really expensive. And that's for male and female. And a good pump and shiny shoes. Make sure that your shoes are shined. It's, you don't want to be wearing tennis shoes and a suit. That just doesn't work. Even though the weatherman on one of the TV stations
Glenn Zimmerman, who I worked with.
Glenn,
he's going to go, wait a minute, Dianne.
But I like it. I mean, and he has, that's sort of his trademark.
Yes.
And that's wonderful. But not for a young person going into an interview.
That is their style, though. You know that.
I know.
So what about the shoes that have that transitional look to them? Do you not like at all the leather top with the white bottom? I'm going to think you're not.
No.
Because she doesn't like jeans either.
I'm a real tradition. No, I have
you
one
don't
pair of jeans.
Oh, you do?
One, I do. I found a pair.
Wait, breaking news.
Yes, and I wore that this summer when I was out working in the yard with a coordinated plaid that had blue in it, because after all, I might be going to get some more dirt. And
Yes.
I wanted it to look okay. But,
correct. All right, hang on. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna transition back to hosting because again, I think you all need to know from an etiquette standpoint. And there are things that people think they should be bringing to a host that I'm going to ask you about. Don't answer yet, because I've heard both sides to this particular one, and I get where it's coming from. So more with Dianne Isbell and Audra Harold when we return. This is my wonderful role model, one of my best friends.
She's, oh my gosh, you got a long life. You could probably live to be 130 or something. And I said, oh God, I hope not.
It's getting hot in here. Don't take off all your clothes.
I'm not going to take off my clothes. On the radio tape, going to
Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. We're gonna speak. We're not gonna spank anybody. We're gonna speak about knowing your value, and then I'm gonna.
I'm going to spank them.
If you don't know your value and you don't grab hold of how important you are, I'm gonna spank you. Folks, you never know what you're gonna get with her. And welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. We were just talking at the break. Dianne and my mother, Jackie, absolutely adore each other. You're both little pint-sized, wonderful gifts to the world.
Well, thank you. Yes, I do adore her.
Well, and Dianne, you said this earlier. So if someone is shorter in stature, you have incredible posture that makes you larger than life.
Well, and the other thing is to dress monochromatically so that every time there's a different color, your eyes sort of stop. So if you're wearing 3 different colors as you go to the top, you become a lot shorter. So if you want to look taller, make sure that you're wearing something like some bigger earrings. In this case, I'm wearing a hat or a fascinator that makes me look taller.
Yes.
And anytime you can look taller, you look slimmer. So of course, I'm always out for that too.
Audra, what fashion tips would you give out to our younger generation? But there's also a lot of women that are, I would say, middle-aged women that want to look more slender. What tips do you give for them?
Yeah, I would agree with Diane. Just that monochromatic. Of course, we all know black is slimming, so we all tend to lean towards black. And then accessorize. I'm a big accessory person, big earrings, that sort of thing, because it does draw the eye up to your face, which is what we want to look at anyway, and the smile and communicate.
Smile, eyes, right? Yeah, the communication. Okay, so we're going to talk about hostess gifts and what you're bringing in just a second. But Sherry just said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa!" I still do hair for those days because she's a stylist, right? Hair.
Yes.
And then she said she wants to go to the Derby. Dress for success. Yes, yes, yes. It's the first thing she says she looks at when a stylist comes in. Pressed, confident, all of it. It makes a huge difference. Pressing. Can you get out the iron, folks? Please do that. Tessa Greenspan just started watching. She said, you are absolutely amazing. And Faith Berger said, I love this segment. Audra and Diane are fantastic. Did you say she's a local designer?
Oh, no, she's an artist.
Oh,
Faith
she's an
is
artist.
An artist like you wouldn't believe. And so,
well, Faith, I think you need to come on the show.
Earth, I think you do, Faith. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
She's into carpets, too. Now she's collaborating with some companies, and her artwork is in carpeting.
In carpeting. All right, Faith. All right, connect me and Faith for sure.
Yes.
Okay, let's say this before we get back into the hosting gifts. You just mentioned that there's some controversy out there, and I think this is a good one. When you go to someone's house, do you take your shoes off?
Yes. Etiquette experts don't quite agree on this. Naturally, if you get dressed up and you're going to somebody's house, do you really want to take your heels off?
No.
I mean, it just changes your whole look. It changes how you feel about yourself. And so I just feel like that's not the appropriate thing for a hostess to do. Unless she notifies everyone and says, hey, because we got new carpeting, and says, hey, don't have a party if you're going to have new carpeting. That's my thought.
Or I've always heard, now there are some people, again, they don't want all the things from the outside elements into their home. And so you get to a point where at that particular person's house, they don't, right? It's a known thing. However, I've always believed, and I've heard from etiquette experts, that if you are the person who doesn't want people wearing shoes inside your home, that you need to provide something for them, correct?
Yes, you would have, but there again, you've changed the whole look that
I
you put
agree.
together for that party. So, but along with that, one of the things that people need to remember about going to a party is please don't walk across their grass to get to the front door. Please use the driveway and the sidewalk.
Etiquette.
I mean, that's just so
that's respect, right?
Yes, it is. And especially when the frost is on the grass and everything, your footprints will be there forever. So if you're a yard freak like I'm a yard freak, please don't walk on my grass.
And when you're parking, don't drive up into their grass either.
Yes.
There's so much respect. We could do hours worth of this show, right?
Well,
okay.
Go
ahead. No, go ahead.
Be aware of the neighbors in that neighborhood. You don't want to block somebody else's driveway because you're going to the party over here. Okay?
That's
if
respect.
You have to walk a little bit further or drop off your wife or your significant other and then park the car and then come.
Yes, because you don't want an argument in the neighborhood that you're blocking that person from getting out of their driveway.
And the hostess, they should go around to their neighbors, even if they're not invited or they are invited, and say, we are having this big party or family gathering, and so there may be some extra cars in the neighborhood, and I'm sure that we're not going to block your driveway.
Great point.
And sometimes that neighbor will say, hey, feel free to have them park in our driveway.
Yeah, you'll normally find that. You don't want it to where they're coming home and they're trying to get in and there's cars everywhere. Yep,
Yes.
that's a great point. Okay, so if we're going to someone's house for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, all these big events, Super Bowl right around the corner, what do you suggest bringing as a hostess gift? Give us a little category of items, because I've heard that it's not a good idea to bring alcohol because you don't know if that person drinks or has a problem drinking or...
Well, I would do my homework and find that out first because, and obviously, if you're invited to their home, you know something about them to begin with. And if it's, for instance, if it's bring your own booze, one thing you don't do is don't take your bottle home if it's not been opened. Okay, that is a gift that you leave there for them. But some people do that. It's like, oh, well, I'll just take this home. They didn't drink it, and that's not the thing to do.
No, it's theirs. Or do we, because we don't know, like some people are invited and they don't actually, maybe it's a new neighborhood, right? I've been there before where it was, or they're giving as Christmas gifts to the neighbors, and then you end up finding out, by the way, that person doesn't drink, or that person had a problem with drinking. So I was like, oh, well, maybe you do. What I started doing was both. So we had like a sparkling.
Yes.
Is that a good idea?
Yes,
okay.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
And again, it's something that you don't expect them to open at the party. It's something for them to enjoy later.
Yes.
So,
but what? Give us some other ideas.
Well, something like this cake or cookies that they can have later. Not that you want. Don't bring your favorite potato salad and think that they're going to put it out for the night. That is not. Or you mentioned before a gift card. Maybe it's to Dairy Queen or something, or to Starbucks, a coffee place for them to enjoy later. Not anything that they have to deal with that moment or immediately after the party.
So hosting gifts. Also, if someone is inviting you to their home for the first time, you bring a gift for a housewarming.
Not necessarily, unless it is a housewarming. If it's identified as a housewarming,
Audra
then
and I
you
both
bring a gift.
I always have.
And you can.
But we don't have
It's
to.
a nice thing. But if you do that and not everyone else has done that, you want to do it
make them
very
feel guilty?
discreetly. Yes. Do it, behind the scenes or a little later. You don't want to do that in front of two other people behind you who don't have a housewarming gift. And normally they will identify it as a housewarming, or you'll know that that's what the purpose is.
Yeah, I've always heard that we should. You're being invited to their house and you're just helping them start to decorate their home.
Well, yes and no, but you don't really know what, if you haven't been there,
So
you
they might
don't
toss
know
it
what
off.
it is anyway.
I don't like it.
But the other thing that I wanted to mention is when you get an invitation, respond as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Because it's just rude to wait until the last minute to tell them whether you're coming or not, especially if it's a dinner party, because then they could include somebody else to sit at those two seats that are going to be empty. And don't wait too long, because it also gives the perception that you're just waiting for a better invitation.
A better offer.
During the
Hey,
holidays.
and Diane, as you've said that, by the way, when you're invited somewhere and then you get another offer that you might think is a better offer, you have agreed, right?
Yes.
I've seen this happen way too many times where friends are like, it's okay, I'm just going to go to the other one. I was like, no, that's actually rude.
That is rude. And particularly if you think you can pull it off and they're not going to find out about it, you're wrong, because they will. And that really hurts their feelings.
They will, because you're going to end up putting it on social media.
That's right. Somebody's
can't
going to
help
put
yourself.
it on social media. So,
okay, what about this? Regifting.
well,
Audra, and you and I are like, what does she have to say?
It is controversial to a certain extent.
Yes.
If it is a very, very personal gift, then no, you are not going to want to give that to someone else. Let's say that you get 3 candles, the same kind, at your party. Okay, you may want to give one of those to someone else, and that's not going to hurt somebody's feelings, because it's not a personal gift. And it's just something that is generic, let's say. So
if you are going to, make sure all the tags are off.
Yes.
We've done so many stories in the news of people where there was a book and it was signed to them on the inside. And it's like, look, you got to pay attention to this.
Right.
They're going to catch you.
And that brings up another point of thank you notes.
Okay. How quickly? Okay, this is a good point. How quickly should thank yous go out after a wedding?
Oh, after a wedding, within 3 weeks, or a week after the honeymoon, when you get back, sit down and write those. I mean, I think I got a gift and a wedding gift like a year later.
So that was my question.
Yes.
So somebody said this, and I don't know about all of you, and feel free to weigh in. I disagree with this comment. They say that I don't know who they are, said that you have up to a year to respond after a wedding.
I have heard that.
You have, right?
Well, I think that's really rude and disrespectful.
I agree. What about all of you? Again, now or when you watch this later, I agree with. So when we got married, I was writing those exactly when I first came back from the honeymoon, and they all went out within that month. I mean, when people give them within a week's time, I'm like, holy cow, you're really on the ball, right? But within a month, what would you say? Give them a buffer, 2-3 months max?
Well, not 3 months, no.
So
I just
2
think
maybe,
that,
because
right. 2 at the most, but then you'd have to be on a month's honeymoon in order to do that.
So I know someone who needs to get on the ball because they haven't thanked us.
The other thing that I wanted to say is we send a lot of gifts, during the holidays to people who can't be with us. And so when you get that gift, please notify the giver immediately. Yes. You don't have to say, I'm going to open this on Christmas, but I want you to know I got it. And even though you can track things through it's so much nicer if you just contact them, call them, or send them a text or whatever and say, oh, thank you so much. I got your gift, and I can hardly wait to open it on Christmas Day.
Okay, you just got me into another topic, but here, we're going to get to your comments here, and then I'm going to come back to the calling texting aspect. Don't let me forget this, okay? Faith, thank you, Diane. That was so amazing of you. Linda, I still can't wear the jeans either with holes, and agree, those PJs are for home. I, too, carry my makeup in my personal bag on the plane. I can't imagine replacing it all because of lost luggage. Yes, I always get scared of that. We take our shoes off when entering the house. Really appreciate those who do it when they come to our house. Okay, but she would have to have gotten that out to everyone, right?
Yes, and maybe on just a normal basis when somebody stops by for coffee or tea or afternoon visit. But if it's a party, I think you have to recognize the fact that as a hostess, your guests are taking a lot of time determining what they're going to wear to
from
look
head to
beautiful.
toe.
And if you're wearing heels and then all of a sudden you have to bring some fuzzy slippers, it just doesn't do the outfit justice.
I agree. And all those pictures, they're going to end up online. You're like, why are they all wearing slippers?
But you can
also
Bugs
Bugs Bunny on their feet.
have plenty of rugs outside and at the front door, so that they can wipe. And I'm sure they will.
Yeah, hopefully. Do that.
And if a guest all of a sudden happens to get out of the car and steps in the grass and there's a little mud there, then when you get to the door, say to the hostess, oh, do you have a paper towel or something? I think I stepped in.
Don't traipse it all over their floor.
Right.
So yes, as the invited guest, you also have to have that respect. Suzanne Sanders Block. Diane is an incredible woman with true talent and perseverance. Audra is also very talented and doing such great work with the STL Fashion Alliance. Great information. Michelle, if it's a BYOB, don't wrap your bottle as a gift and then drink the host's good stuff. And Michelle agrees. Well, she and I are so big on this. Yes, RSVP drives me nuts having to call or text non-responders.
Yes.
That's not something we should have it to be.
No.
You're invited to something we're throwing, and that you have not. I always see those, and I'll see, all the way up until the day of, tons of people who never respond. You've got the evites now as well as the regular invitations. But
here's what you do. If you have a couple of people who haven't responded, you don't want to humiliate them or make them feel uncomfortable, so you call and say, gosh, I haven't been home very much at all, and maybe I missed your call, but I just needed to find out if you're coming. We hope you are.
And a lot of times they'll be like, oh, yeah, I am. Did I not respond?
Right.
But yes, my mom instilled in me, just like I know Michelle's mom and hopefully a lot of you and our parents, RSVP, which, by the way, what does it stand for, Diane?
Respondez s'il vous plaît. And really, it's a French term. It's not all capitals. It's a capital R, period, S-V-P, little letters. But, the world has changed, and it's easier for them to type up RSVP all in caps.
And it's s'il vous plaît, please, right? But then it got transitioned to what? Respond very promptly is what I've heard of. Again, but it's promptly.
Yeah.
Do so. If it's a party, I don't mind the shoes. Oh, that was Linda who actually wanted people to take them off. But she said, if it's a party, I don't mind. Only if it's a casual visit. There we go.
Yes.
Sherry, you should teach classes to the youth when they do the cotillion events.
I have done a lot of classes for students and for adults. I've taught at St. Louis University and Fontbonne and corporations. The important thing that the younger people need to learn for success, not only dressing for success, but corporations and businesses who are hiring now want someone who's well-rounded, and they want you to look the part all the time of being a professional. And you need to have good table manners. if you don't know how to use this fork or that fork when you sit down, they will invite you for lunch or breakfast. You are going to make it or break it right then. Because if you don't have good table manners, you don't know which fork, when to put your napkin on your lap.
Don't you go to Pretty Woman right there, right? Julia Roberts, I don't know. And then I love the guy, I don't know either. Here, and he just eats it with his hands. But it's so true. And you actually used to come in to Fox with us and talk about this fork is for this, right?
Yes.
So in Pretty Woman, she talks about the tines on the fork.
Yes.
Are there good reminders for the younger generation, well, actually for all of us, of what goes with what?
Well, there are good reminders, and what's unfortunate is that we are in such a busy world that we really don't sit down and have a family dinner very often. And, paper plates, oh my goodness. This is a plastic plate, as a matter of fact. It's plastic, it's not paper. And it looks, a little bit
looks
better.
nicer.
But
and a lot of the utensils now that are plastic,
Yes.
they have
Yes.
beautiful cutlery.
But as when my son was growing up, and I would always be on him at the house, when we were eating. He'd maybe have I'd say, please take your elbow off the table. And he'd say, Mom, we're only at home. And I said, but when you go out and you have that interview and they're talking to you, you don't want to be thinking about your elbow here or your fork there. You want to be thinking about how you're going to answer the question.
Where should we
that
be
they
putting
just
our hands
asked
when
you.
we're at a table?
Yes, on your lap, yes. And the only time that you can put your elbow technically on the table is if we're separated, by a distance there. Then you can put your elbow on the table in between the courses so that you could better talk to her.
Right? That's the thing. And you watch all these different movies and stuff from the past, and you look at all the kids, and they're so well behaved, and none of their hands are on the tables. That's become a thing, and I'm guilty of it, but I'll think of it. I don't know if I think of you or whoever, maybe my mom, where it's, don't do that. And so it's like a constant stop. I told you I wanted to come back to this. So, texting. And I know the younger generation is going to say, but that's the way we communicate. For me, I would prefer to speak to you on the phone. Can we get communication back? Do you agree with this, Audra?
I'm kind of in the middle. It depends
Okay.
on what I'm communicating, but I do love to hear someone's voice, and I think we have gone too much to texting, but I think for a quick response to something, I think that's okay. Yeah.
Multitasking. Like if you're in a meeting and you have to send a message, you can do that. But you build a relationship. I know when I was working in my protocol job, eyeball to eyeball, you can build that relationship and you can get things done a lot easier. I'm so glad to hear that a lot of people are coming back to the offices to work rather than working from home, because it's difficult.
Well, and you just talk about this, which you and I and Audra have all done really well in the interview. It makes people feel more comfortable when you're looking at them, but we also can tell that you're not confident if you're constantly doing this and you're not looking, right? If they can't have that eye-to-eye contact. You just mentioned a thing. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up our etiquette. And again, just helping you along as you go to the end of the year and getting into the new year. And hopefully you can put some of these things on your platter as you think of New Year's resolutions. We can all be a little bit better. We can all, again, we're not shaming anyone. We're just saying, maybe you forgot about these and you kind of tossed them out the window and they need to come back. A lot of this, again, is good teaching for our younger generation, but then reteaching all of us as well. All right, more etiquette talk with Dianne Isbell and Audra Harold when we return.
Monica's show, it's very informational, but more importantly, inspirational.
People such as myself and others can come out and talk about real issues that are taking place in our communities.
These are amazing, really, really important topics that don't get discussed enough.
It really just promotes people who are making change and doing good in their lives.
And welcome back. Hasn't this been fun? Again, I could sit here and talk to these two for hours. I know you've got things you have to do, and we're going to be respectful of your time. Thank you, by the way, for watching live. And I know a lot of you have to pop on and off. But if you are just popping on, you've missed an incredible show. So go back to the beginning and then do us a favor and share that with all of your followers on all of the platforms. Again, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and X right now. And then look for our reels turning on Instagram and TikTok as well a little bit later this morning. Again, Dianne Isbell Isbell and Audra Harold have been my guest, and we're talking about etiquette. So the texting and the calling aspect, again, a quick response. Or when I'm working, and this is the one thing that I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but if you go into Apple products, I never had Apple before, I do now, but my laptop, I was like, oh, I can just sit here and type. Oh, there's long things that I can send. This is not necessarily a good thing. It should be quicker responses. And if we have to have a longer conversation, it should be actually on the phone, right?
Yes, definitely.
And we shouldn't be ghosting people. Not a good thing. Do you know what ghosting is, Diane?
Well, I've heard of it, but I'd rather have you explain it.
So, okay, a lot of the younger generation, they think it's okay in relationships and even in jobs to just not show up, like ghost. You just disappear. No, right?
Oh.
From the etiquette queen, I knew you would disagree with that.
It's accountability. And in today's world, you know, the world is run by those who show up.
Mm-hmm.
First, you have to get up and then you show up.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you can never be, how are you ever going to be successful if you're not out there doing that job that you're hired to do or being accountable and meeting other people? You learn from other people and you learn by being on the job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this ghosting, I think that's so it's so.
You got to own it. And again, I know a lot of people are like, well, but it's just easy. And I said, yeah, but you don't cop out. You don't take the easy way out. You want to end a relationship? You have to have a discussion on that. We all did.
Yes.
I don't know where ghosting came from, but feel free to weigh in, by the way, about what you think about that. Marilyn said 1,000% get on the phone. It definitely has affected this young generation who it is awkward to communicate. It's bringing down our civility. There's a time to text, but please pick up the phone and have a conversation. Right. So I just told you there's a video somewhere, and my godchild is now, oh my gosh, she just turned 14. So when she was maybe 5 or 6 years old, she used to stay at the house with me, and it was around the holidays. And so I'm very big on what we discussed earlier about coming to the dinner table. When I used to have my Camo X show, every Sunday I used to mention, by the way, you want to know what's going on in your kids' lives? Go back to the dinner table and put this down.
Yes.
And have them talk with you and tell you about the day. When you
Yes.
come back and you find out things from their friends and you think, well, why didn't I know? Because you didn't ask them. Right? They do actually want to be seen and heard and talked to, whether they want to mumble through it or not, but that's how you find out. But I taught her how to set an actual proper dining room table. And we were doing the folding of the napkins and everything and setting it there. And she's like, this is pretty. And I was like, yeah, I think they want to learn.
Yes. And it's so nice to know that and to do that when you have friends that come over. I mean, it just sets the stage for a wonderful afternoon or a wonderful dinner. And it shows other people say, I'm going to go home and I'm going to use my china next Sunday too.
Yes.
You know?
And so we, on our honeymoon, we were in Napa Valley, and I still stay with this in my mind. There are a lot of people who, let's go back to alcohol side, wine. They will get wine and they'll want to save it for years and years and years. I live in the world of we're not promised tomorrow. And so the guy in Napa told us, drink your good wine, Monica, get it out for your guest, drink it. And I was like, thank you. That's what I think. I know there's some wine that they say, oh, it should be laid down for 10, 20 plus years. We're not promised tomorrow.
That's right.
Come over. I'm going to give you the good wine.
Right. Don't save that china for some event that may never happen because you're doing something else. You know, that's the thing to teach your grandchildren and your children, that there are special times when, if you can't do it every day and have your family dinner, try to pick a time when you can. And the other thing about cell phones, have you been to a restaurant where you see two people and they're not talking because they're both have this phone here, or the whole family? I mean, that's not the proper time to do that. You know, you need to devote your time to the person whom you're with.
Correct. And I like the people who have the no cell phone policy, and they'll invite you over, and then everybody has to put them in the middle. It's hard because people are like, there's an addiction, right? My husband used to say that this is my umbilical cord.
Oh, and the only thing that you can do, let's say your mother, when she was having her heart
procedure,
you know, and you were going somewhere, and then you put the phone, you know, on the table or near you and say, excuse me, but I need to have this phone near me because my mother's in the hospital, or that I'm following up. It's okay then, because you've identified why. And if I get the call, I will excuse myself for a few minutes to take that call.
Don't speak in front of everybody else.
And oh, how terrible it is when you go, let's say that you're going into Neiman's or Nordstrom's or somewhere and you're purchasing something, and you go up to the clerk to make that purchase and you're on the phone. phone.
Yeah,
the
that's
entire
disrespectful to
time.
them.
How disrespectful.
Well, it's also, my husband still this day goes, oh, never mind. They're not talking to themselves. They got an earbud in. Yeah. Right? We never know today.
Yes,
Right?
it's hard to tell. It's like, oh, excuse me, are you talking to me?
And see, again, I told you we could be on for hours. When you're at a restaurant, keep the conversation to your table.
Yes.
People are so loud, and it's like, I don't want to hear your conversation. And
No.
by the way, you shouldn't be talking about that so loud, like everybody's listening to you.
The other thing is, if you have children, please teach them to sit in the chair and not be running around and screaming, because that is just so, I mean, we go for the dining experience and the quietness, and to have children running around all over the place
It
is
annoys
so
me.
Infuriating.
It is, and it shows that you haven't done a good job parenting. Sherry, let's see. You should teach classes to the youth when they. We had that with the cotillion events again in Maryland. So for any of you that didn't get a chance to pop in with a comment, feel free to do so. We'll still look at those after the show. And again, we appreciate your time in the morning. I know you're hustling and bustling and running around with getting to your job or getting the kids out, but love to see the amount of people that see the live shows so you can interact with us. But again, you can also do that on a replay. Let me recap again the shoe drive with the STL Fashion Alliance going on right now through January 10th. A lot of drop-off points that you can find on their website. The Fashion Holiday Party, December 10th from 7 to 10. There's the shoe drive, by the way. And then the holiday party is going to be at the new AC Hotel in Clayton. Again, you can get tickets, $75. Invite and ticket reminder images right here for you. And then the High School Inspiration Award, Lindenwood University High School Fashion Show participants. That is going to be the presentation on Friday, December 6th. Again, the MC is Audra Harold, and then Dianne will be presenting the award. And then again, Giving Tuesday today. So we would love for you to remember the STL Fashion Alliance and give a little to them while you give to maybe some of the other charities that are very near and dear to you. We could just do a series of etiquette.
Yes, we could.
It is one of
We
my
could go
favorite
on
things to
forever.
discuss. So what lasting comment do you want to give to them, Audra and Dianne, when it comes to etiquette for the holidays?
Be giving, be kind, and be courteous.
Oh, I love that. Audra?
I would second that. I like the be giving, especially to STL Fashion Alliance, and just respect each other and have fun, enjoy each other. I'm a cancer survivor coming up on 1 year.
Wow,
so
congratulations.
Thank you. So I absolutely understand the every day counts, every breath counts, and we need to enjoy each other.
Oh, you just gave me a chill. Absolutely. I mean, that's the whole thing. We're not promised the next second. So love those that you love a little more, respect each other, and give an extra hug today. And again, because there are some horrific things that happen in our world. We're not doing the show saying it's not happening. I just don't want to focus so much on it because it really does harden so much in your mind, mentally, and in your spirit as well. So we're going to take a break. I want to tell you about a big workshop retreat trying to help you be more authentic that's coming up this weekend. And then I'll let the ladies choose. What are you feeling today? You know, I do these devotions at the end of the show.
I was telling Audra
So
about
100 Days to Freedom from Depression, Shame, that might be a good one today, Anger, Overeating, or Fear and Anxiety. What do you feel? I'll let Audra choose.
Gosh, I think fear and anxiety.
See, everybody picks
Kinda-
that one.
Oh,
it's a
kind of the
popular
season,
one.
though. It's like everyone,
Yes. Okay. So 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety and the big Feel the Authenticity workshop coming up on Sunday. All the details when we return.
She's a special woman and done so much for St. Louis.
Watching her work is one of the most incredible things you can see.
She just sees value in everyone.
Sometimes people just need you to sit with them and hear them. I feel heard.
The time flew by, and it was like sitting and talking to a friend.
Not only creating a better place here in St. Louis, but to inspire others. It's always great to have examples like you.
You have such a light and such a presence, and I could feel it this morning.
We knew right away when you started this, we wanted to be on your show. Thanks for having us.
And I look forward to seeing how you rock and roll and shake it up.
Well, welcome back, 8:19, and thank you again for all that tuned in today. So, waiting well, it's day 52 of 100 Days to Freedom, this one from Fear and Anxiety. I wait quietly before God, for my victory comes from him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress, where I will never be shaken. That's Psalm 62, verses 1 through 2. Waiting well requires patience and endurance, for we don't know when the answer or the resolution will come. Do you have the patience to wait for that? You can work yourself up with worry and fear that the result will not be what you had hoped. Thinking of all the options and the endings, sometimes the worst possible scenario is all you can focus on. In times like these, what you need is a stable foundation on which to stand. While you wait, focus on the truth that God's working on your problem or situation, and let him do it in his time. No matter what the outcome, God will provide strength for you. Waiting well requires stability, a core of peace that will pervade every part of your thoughts. Accepting that God is trustworthy, strong, and faithful will calm and then quiet your mind, which we need. And we'll talk about that on Sunday, by the way, the calmness of the mind. When the temptation to panic arises, choose to focus on the fortress that God provides for you. Trust that he's going before you and will provide wisdom and insight, and then rest on these promises. If you're in a season of waiting, choose to wait well, resting in the strength of the Lord, knowing he'll give you a solid place on which to wait. Ask God for peace as you choose to wait well. Peter Marshall said, "Teach us, O Lord, the disciplines of patience, for to wait is often harder than to work." Drop the mic on that one. I'm not even going to read the other two. That's a really good one. We'll give you today's prayer. Lord God, you are my rock and fortress. Help me to seek your peace as I wait on you to work in my life, trusting that no matter what I face, you will always be my shelter. Amen. Audra, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Good. I love it. And it's so hard for so many people to have patience in life. It's one of the greatest things that we can teach. So this Sunday, I saw a couple of people buy tickets yesterday. We're going to let you buy those tickets RSVP as quickly as you can for this, though, right? I would love to know, because I know that the owner of Yanology would like to know, because we are getting food and drinks for you. So it's December 8th. From 1 to 3. There are so many people that say, Monica, I missed your retreats that you've held. Are you going to have another one? Well, this is a mini one. So it's a little introduction to spending an entire day or a weekend, or eventually in 2025, traveling with us for a true luxury wellness retreat and a culinary retreat and treat together, which will come, which was a little kind of introduction to that when you saw some of the stuff we did in Italy. This will be a mini version. Feel the authenticity. What do I mean by that? Be willing to show your real self. Take off the filters, take off the masks. You would be surprised that the world will accept you and want you exactly as you are. So the men and the women that have tried to change you in life, I'm not going to shame them, because we're trying to break us from saying shame on them, but they don't know, right? They don't realize that you should just show who you are, and a lot of people will embrace that. So it's a great workshop from 1 to 3 p.m. at Yanology. If you've never been, what a really cool place it is in Frontenac. 903 South Lindbergh, Suite 110. Everything about that store from head to toe is all about wellness. So looking forward to that. Again, tickets can be purchased at TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Click on the events calendar, December 8th. All right, we've got maybe 10 tickets left, I think, before that comes. But don't wait to the last second for that. My guest, again, one more time, thank you to Dianne Isbell and Audra Harold. Don't forget, Giving Tuesday. Let's help out the STL Fashion Alliance. Ladies, I will say it early, even though it's going to be here before we know it. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you. And New Year's. Again, I hope for the best for you today, and can't wait for some exciting things to come in the fashion world. And to each and every one of you, remember what we always say. Again, entrepreneurs right here. Be anything you want to be. Dream big. Believe in yourself. But before you're anything, be kind. God bless you all.